Hi book besties. So unfortunately I filmed this whole entire video yesterday and I got ready for it and everything. My bangs were looking so good. I had the cutest sweater, the cutest jewelry. I got all dressed up for you guys, and then I just now went to start editing that video and realized that the footage is completely blown out because I had my camera in a different spot. Instead of right here, I had it right here, and all you can see is just like the glare of that window in the whole entire video. Yes, I'm in my editing attire with my bangs put back because if you guys watch my videos, you know that I can't stand my bangs in my face for too long, especially when I'm working. I have 15 books today that I have thrifted or found at little free libraries over the past probably 4 months. I'm not going to go in any specific order at all. I just literally pulled them off my bookshelf and put them in a stack, so that's the order we're going to go in. Let's just jump right into it. First, we have By a Thread by Lucy Score. I've never read a Lucy Score before. I thrifted this from Goodwill. Again, if you guys watch my videos, you probably know that I'm not much of a romance reader, but I do want to try to get into the genre. It's not that I am against the genre or anything like that. It's just that I don't really gravitate to it. I have a ton of romance books on like my wish list and like romance books that I want to read. But whenever I pick my books, I really just tend to gravitate to things other than romance. So I am excited to jump into Lucy Score because I've heard that her romance is really good. I think Lucy Score is pretty spicy. And again, I don't read a lot of romance, so I don't entirely know how I feel about spice levels in my book. I think I do like having some because it makes it feel more adult. I definitely don't like to read romance books that are young adult. I'm not going to say all young adult romance books, but I just like, I'm not, I'm 31. I don't really want to read about two high schoolers falling in love, you know what I mean? I don't know. But anyway, I believe this is a workplace romance. Yes. The MMC's mother hires the FMC to work at their magazine, and he does not really like her. So kind of seems like maybe like rivals to lovers and workplace romance. I know that this is one of Sarah Caroli's favorite books, so I'm interested to see how I like it. Then at one of my local little free libraries, I picked up Tuck Everlasting by Natalie Babbitt. I picked this up solely because of the nostalgia that this brings me. This copy is actually like so beat up, and if I end up really liking this, I might end up buying a better copy. I did read this when I was younger, and the movie was one of my absolute favorites back in the day, back in like high school, middle school. It was like top 3 maybe. So I'm really excited to jump back into this. If you don't know what Tuck Everlasting is about, it's about this family that stays young forever because they basically drink the water from this fountain of youth. But once you drink the water, you literally can't die. You literally don't die, and you stay the same physically forever. And this girl basically discovers this family, and I think that she helps them to keep the Fountain of Youth like a secret because there are some people that are looking for it, but the Tuck family doesn't want people to find it because they know how terrible it is to live forever. And it is a little bit of a romance. I'm just like giddy even thinking about this because I haven't watched it in so long, but it really was one of my favorites. Then I have seen this next book multiple times in thrift stores, and I've not picked it up because I've just heard that this author's work is just not worth reading, and I know there's some controversy behind her. But I have heard multiple people say that if you are going to pick up one of her books, that this is the book to pick up. And so I decided that I wanted to see kind of like what people were talking about. So I picked up Verity by Colleen Hoover. I don't gravitate to Colleen Hoover. Like I said before, I've just heard not great things about her and her writing, so I don't pick up her work. This is obviously the first time that I've picked up one of her books. I have heard that it's pretty good, so I believe this is about a husband and a wife. The wife writes books, but she is ailing and she can't finish her famous series, so the husband hires this girl to essentially finish the series for his wife. And then I think the husband and the new author become entangled in some sort of way. And I think the girl that's writing the rest of the series finds a manuscript for an autobiography from the wife. And there's a lot of like scary, messed up confessions in there. And I think she's kind of going back and forth between telling the husband about what she's found. Again, not an author that I gravitate to, but I have heard good things about this one, so we'll see. The next book I picked up is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I recently did a Reading Dark Academia reading vlog, and I kind of found out that Dark Academia is hit or miss for me. I don't tend to love scenes in books where they're like in a lecture. I find it very slow and boring. So, and I've heard mixed things about this, but the people that do like it say that it's a masterpiece, which now thinking about it, I kind of feel like that's what people say about Fable too. Like, you either absolutely love Fable or you're like, no. Not that I disliked Fable. I don't want to say that I disliked Fable, but I wouldn't read it again. It was very hard for me to get through. It was so slow, and there was a lot of like lecture scenes, which I don't vibe with. The story was great. You know, everything about it was good. It's just that it was slow for me, and I kind of have a feeling this might be that same exact way. And this is very long. This is over 500 pages and the words are small. I'm not sure about this one. I hope I don't regret picking it up. I hope I like it. We will see. This is about, a group of classmates. They discover a way of thinking and living that is a world away from the humdrum existence of the contemporaries. But when they go beyond the boundaries of normal morality, they slip gradually from obsession to corruption, betrayal, and at last, evil. So it sounds really interesting. The next book I picked up at a little free library, I've never heard of it before, and that's The Seagate by Jane Johnson. This is a historical fiction. It takes place in the present day, but also in World War II. I believe after her mother dies, this woman goes to help her ailing aunt to fix up her house, to either sell it, make it habitable again. And as she's going through her aunt's house, her cousin's house, she finds some like family secrets and just things about her cousin that nobody knew about. So it's kind of like partially her cousin's story and partially her story of like uncovering these secrets. Looking at this cover, I don't think that I would pick it up if I didn't read the synopsis, which I hate because I really don't want to judge books by their cover, but I do. You know, the next book I picked up at another little free library that I'm very, very excited about again is The Maid by Nita Prose. I'm so pumped for this because the main character in this is neurodivergent, and her neurodivergence is actually like a main focal point of this story because I believe this girl becomes a maid and she finds a rich, famous guy dead in his hotel room, and because she is neurodivergent and she doesn't have like the best social skills and like misreads people a lot, the police actually think that she is the main suspect because they think that she's acting suspicious when in actuality she's just neurodivergent. But yeah, I'm very, very excited for this. I'm hoping that I can read this before 2025 because that's how excited I am about it. The next book my brother actually picked up for me when he went on a trip with his friend, and that's Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. This is the original classic Peter Pan story. Peter Pan was one of my favorite Disney movies as a kid. So I'm very interested to see kind of where that movie came from, like the original story. I know I'm mentioning Sarah Caroli a lot in this video, but I know that Sarah Caroli tried to read this before that Jessa Hastings book came out. Is it called Never? I don't know. But she tried to read it and she DNF'd it. And a lot of times I will DNF classics as well because they're hard for me to get through because of the Old English. I don't know what the writing style is like in this one, but I really hope I can get through it and I hope I enjoy it. Next, I picked up at a local sale that we have twice a year, and it's another classic, and that is A Wrinkle in Time by Madeline L'Engle. I know there's a movie for this. I've never seen the movie. I don't know what the story is about besides what the synopsis says. I know this is a classic. I think this will be fun to pick up, and it is a kid's book, so first of all, I love the words because they're huge, and it's short. If you also don't know anything about it, a girl and her brother and her friend go on an extraordinary adventure when a strange visitor comes to their house, and the adventure will threaten their lives and the universe. So again, sounds right up my alley. Obviously, it's very well known and very well loved, so excited for this one too. The next book I picked up is also a children's book. I just picked it up yesterday, actually, at one of my local Little Free Libraries. And that is Wildwood by Colin Malloy. I've never heard of this. It is a children's book. I was Little Free Library hunting and I went to 4 different Little Free Libraries and I was just hitting dud after dud after dud. And this was basically the only book in the last one that I went to that seemed interesting. So I decided why not try it, because honestly the synopsis sounds pretty good, even if it is a children's book. And knowing me, I love children's literature anyways. This is like a similar kind of trope as Narnia, where they go into a different world and they find all of these creatures and they're having like a battle. The FMC's brother is abducted by a murder of crows and taken to the impassable wilderness, which is like a really dense forest, and she takes her friend Curtis deep into the forest where they uncover a secret world in the midst of violent upheaval. It's basically like her and her friend go on a rescue mission for her brother into this like impassable wilderness, and they find all of these creatures in this whole new world, which, like, I know I keep saying it, but again, this just is right up my alley. It sounds so good. It's very thick for a kid's book. Like, I like how it feels. And there are cute little illustrations, which obviously I am a sucker for. Just this picture alone actually intrigues me so much. Call me a child. I don't care, whatever, I'm just enjoying myself. Next up at another Little Free Library, I found Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This is young adult dystopian, I believe, and it's about a world where people can't die from natural causes, so there are people called scythes who actually have to keep the population under control, is what the back says. And I believe this follows one of the scythes. I've only heard good things about this, so I'm very interested to dive in. I believe it's a trilogy. Next at Goodwill, I picked up House on the Cerulean Sea, The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. Since the first time, like a year ago, that I heard about this book, I knew that it had to go onto my TBR because it just sounds so magical and fun. There is this house where they send dangerous magical children, and Linus, our MMC, is sent on an assignment to travel to that orphanage, and I'm pretty sure it's just like the story of him getting to know these kids and learning that they're not actually as dangerous as society thinks they are. Then at that local sale, I also picked up The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I think that's how you say it, but I'm probably wrong. I know there is a book going around called The Alchemist, and I don't know if it's this one. If you guys know, please let me know in the comments, because I did actually this morning see somebody talking about a different book called The Alchemist, and it wasn't this one. But either way, this still sounds really good. This is about a boy who is traveling across the world or across his country from his homeland to Spain, in search of a treasure, and he finds a lot of different people and characters along the way. And by the time he reaches his destination, he realizes that worldly possessions and things like treasure are not actually what matters most, and that the treasure is within. I think it's going to be really fun to see this character grow throughout this book, and it's really quick read. Next, at one of my little free libraries, I picked up Within Arm's Reach by Anne Napolitano, who also wrote Hello Beautiful, which I have seen on the internet, but I have not seen this one. I don't really know how people feel about Hello Beautiful. Also, I know I've seen it around, but I believe this is just about like your typical Irish Catholic. Yes, Irish Catholic family, and it chronicles life's highs and lows with aching precision. It's a poignant reminder of how connected we are to those we love, even when we cannot find the words to say it. Literary fiction. I love reading about relationships and the connections that people have to each other. Next, at Goodwill, I picked up Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. I picked this up because I've seen this everywhere, and people say that it is absolutely heart-wrenching and will change your life, and that's just the kind of book that I like, honestly. Oh, this is actually his debut. Tells a story of fierce cruelty and fierce yet redeeming love. So we have a privileged young Afghani boy who comes of age during the last peaceful days of the monarchy, just before his country's revolution and its invasion by Russian forces. A vivid and engaging story that reminds us how long his people have been struggling to triumph over the forces of violence. I have a feeling this is probably going to break me, but that's okay. Sometimes I need a book like that. And the last book that I want to talk about, I got at a little free library again, and that's Dragon Fruit by Micaiah Lucier. This is a fantasy book, but what I was so intrigued with this one is that it's set in like the tropics, which I feel like you don't normally see. I feel like fantasy books are always like in a forest, in the mountains, or you know what I mean? So I feel like this is going to be such a fun read for summertime next year. This is about a girl who gets sent into exile, and I think she makes a deal with a dragon to return home, and when she returns home she finds that her old friend's mother is ailing, and they need to go on an adventure together to find the dragon fruit, and along the way they come into all of these different dangers, as you do, and they actually come to find out that they need to fear the dragon fruit itself as well. I'm just itching for summer next year to pick this up. I know that I could pick it up beforehand, but like look at the cover. It looks so summery. And that's it, guys. That is all 15 books. Oh my gosh, can I pick them up? That's all 15 books that I have for you today. I would love to know down in the comments if you guys have read any of these books, or if these books are on your TBR as well. Obviously, if you like this kind of video, please like and comment and subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, I would love to have you in my little corner of BookTube. I'm trying to make YouTube my full-time job, so if you want to help me out with that, it would be great if you could subscribe and go watch more of my videos, please. I would just love to be able to support my little family, my 2 boys and myself, with something that I love doing. Again, let me know your thoughts on these books. But until next time, guys, bye!